They do it because they want to do it for others. It's all about service. This is exactly why they are our country's best, our country's 1%. I've talked with several soldiers about their daily tasks in line with the military. I've asked them some of their most prominent thoughts that they have while on a mission in the Middle East or anywhere else. Their comments very much resembled the same remarks made by many of the Vietnam veterans I've talked with. Our soldiers' most common fear was the thought of the unknown while on patrol. The fear that they never knew the intentions of the people they crossed paths with. The war they fight doesn't have a distinct enemy and doesn't have an end in sight. They are fighting the unknown, and for that, I cannot give them enough respect for the bravery they have. The number one fear most people have is that of the unknown, and our soldiers courageously walk through it each day. The type of unknown that could take your life. These are some of the things, among many others, that make me proud to be in the armed forces. These pieces of our soldiers' everyday lives, and what make me want to thank them each and every day is these facts. That they do, and I hope each and every one of them, and every one of you feels the same way. This is one area that I hope we never lose, our gratitude. As George Cannon once posed, when our perils past, shall our gratitude sleep? I hope the answer to that question is always never. I will say that I feel there has been a slight shift in our society of late. I feel that the lengthy war in the Middle East is slowly bringing back with it the same temperament our society had during the Vietnam conflict. This is something as a society we cannot let happen. Repeating mistakes is something the weak, uneducated, and those resistant to change fall prey to, and that is not what makes up our great nation. That is not the characteristics of the United States of America. We are a nation of solidarity, built upon the selflessness of those who have stood up against oppression. So help us out and help yourselves out, and make sure you thank and support your veterans for all they do. You may not agree with what orders have been given them, but you should always agree that they put themselves in harm's way for you. Being in harm's way is a normal part of a soldier's life. It encompasses what it means to be a member of the military, and it led to my final realization of what it means to be a soldier. It was when I was first stationed in Afghanistan. I was still relatively new and fresh blood to those around me, and especially considering it was my first deployment. Sitting in the back of the C-130, or as I'm sure many of you here can attest today, being packed in the back of the C-130 is interesting enough in itself for anyone who hasn't experienced it. You can literally see that we're pretty much packed like a can of sardines. There are many questions running through my head at this moment when I was on the C-130, such as what it would be like when I landed, how would this place differ from home, and so on. Then, all the lights in the plane went out, and the flight crew announced that they had to completely black out the plane to prevent from rocket attacks from the ground. Once on the base in Afghanistan, I started to get an idea of what real military life was like, but I still didn't fully understand it, what it meant to be a veteran of this great military. It hit me the next day. The moment for me was when I was walking to work on the flight line, and a helicopter came in quickly. A rush of personnel ran over, and a medical team pulled a lifeless body out of the helicopter. I asked a reservist who had been working there several months what was going on, and he told me this is a commonplace event, that a soldier likely died while on patrol. Later that day, I witnessed an aircraft being loaded with deceased soldiers, the real heroes of our military, who have given their lives for others. This is a moment for me when I wondered if I'd go home the same way and what that meant. This was what that meant to my wife, waiting at home, and my family back in the States. What it would mean to my friends. It made me think about the last thing I said to my wife, and what things I wanted to say. A million things ran through my mind at that moment. The bottom line is, this is when I realized what it means to be a member of the armed forces, a soldier, and a veteran. It was about this time that my wife found out what it's like to be a military spouse. I bring this up because family is a direly important part of our military, and military families play just as important role as our soldiers. They are the ones left behind, trying to eat dinner at a table with an empty chair, trying to keep the family of four together on their own. They are the ones that have to learn to manage everything from paying the bills, to taking out the trash, feeding the family, shopping, teaching, upbringing the children, and they do this all while they have the heartache of being separated from the most important person in their life. Spouses, I'm sure you can attest to this. I know my wife can. but that when a person leaves for a deployment, your significant other, it seems like everything that can go wrong does go wrong. Am I right? I recall the first telephone call I got from my wife when I was on my first tour over to Korea. And the first week I was there, the car battery died, the garbage disposal broke, the air conditioner went out, the brakes in my car started squealing. I'm really surprised I didn't get a phone call the next day that said all the wheels on my car had fallen off. I mean, you name it and it starts to go wrong. That's Murphy for you. But seriously, folks, these are the things our families have to deal with when we're away. Parents have to answer questions about when mommy or daddy are coming home. They have to sit through tear-filled nights and get up the next day and do everything all over again. Children don't get to brush their teeth with their dads or moms before bed. And moms don't get the enjoyment of finding a toilet seat left up in the middle of the night. The worst sometimes of all is when a dad has to miss the birth of his own child, the first smile and laugh a baby makes, and the first time they eat ice cream. Even through all of this, military families support their soldier. They know when that person goes off on a deployment that they may not return, yet they understand the importance of their job. On the day that they have to say goodbye before their warrior leaves on a year-long deployment, they hide away their own emotional pain from their face and replace it with a smile to make sure their loved one leaves in good spirits. Military families never cease to amaze me with their fortitude. I simply want to say to each and every one of you out there, thank you. You are never forgotten in our thoughts. We love our families and we know that they are the backbone of our courage and strengthen our resolve when we need to take just one more step forward. With all that said, I want to look to our future now. I want to talk about those few and courageous individuals today who will take our nation's military oath and carry on the perpetual responsibility of protecting our country. Today we have with us many individuals who are willing to take this charge. These individuals will step into a world of service, sacrifice, responsibility, but also a place to belong, and they will become a part of something much larger than themselves. They will be following in the footsteps of famous military leaders such as General MacArthur, Colin Powell, George Patton, and Dwight D. Eisenhower. They will initiate these first steps with the military oath, the oath of office. The importance of our military oath dates back to 1 June 1789 and was founded on our country's first law, developed during the first session of Congress, and the first statute in Chapter 1. Oaths have that high of an importance to our country that it was the first matter of business our country's legislative branch decided to tackle. Over the years, the oath of office has changed many times. To those of you getting ready to fill the footsteps of those retired veterans sitting in this room today, hear the words of your oath. I, having been appointed to a specific rank, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and